Imagine bending down in your own backyard, hands deep in the soil, coaxing life from rosemary sprigs after chemo nearly stole yours, and then bam, a pearl-clutching HOA president storms up, visor tilted like a crown, accusing you of weaponizing your smile to wreck marriages. That's the sucker punch that kicked off the nightmare for Sarah Klein in the picture-perfect hell of Willow Creek Estates, Virginia. But oh, the sweet irony when her quiet, eagle-eyed husband turns the tables, exposing the queen bee's throne as a house of cards built on expired paperwork and whispered bigotry. Sarah didn't flinch at first. She was on her knees, clipping away at the overgrown basil, the sun warming her back like an old friend after those brutal months of radiation. The garden wasn't just dirt and plants. It was her battlefield scar, the spot where she reclaimed her breath after cancer tried to choke it out. But there was Gladys Hargrove, president of the Willow Creek HOA, striding across the lawn like she owned every blade of grass, visor shading her judgmental squint, pearls swinging like a noose. "Mrs. Klein," Gladys barked, not even bothering to look at Sarah directly. Her eyes locked on me, Ethan Klein, standing on the porch with my morning coffee turning cold. "We've had reports. Your wife's activities in this garden are causing disturbances. Flirtatious chit-chat with the married men while handing out time bundles? It's unbecoming." I set my mug down slowly, feeling that familiar courtroom calm settle in, the one I use when defendants think they're slick. I'm a district attorney, after all, the guy who dismantles lies for a living. But this was personal. Sarah paused mid-snip, her shears hovering, but she didn't rise. Just blinked once, twice, like she was processing if this was some bad dream. "Disturbances," I echoed, stepping off the porch. "You mean the way she waves hello while watering her own damn tomatoes? On our deed-recorded property." Gladys's smile was all teeth. No soul, the kind that says, "I hold the clipboard, so I hold the power." Mark Dawson, her ever-present sidekick on the board, shifted behind her, fiddling with his tie like it was choking him. "It's not the plants, Mr. Klein," Gladys cooed, her voice dripping with that faux concern HOA type's perfect. "It's the allure. Multiple anonymous notes say she's drawing undue attention. We can't have that eroding our community morals." Morals. The word hung there like a bad joke. Sarah finally stood, brushing soil from her knees, her face pale but composed, the survivor mask she'd worn through endless hospital waits. "Allure?" she repeated softly, almost amused, but I saw the tremor in her fingers, the echo of those days when every poke and prod left her raw. Gladys didn't miss a beat. "Policy is policy. Charm won't bend it, even for well, someone in your condition." My blood simmered. "Condition? You mean surviving stage 3 lung cancer? The one where she lost her hair but not her spirit?" Mark coughed, suddenly fascinated by his shoes. Gladys adjusted her visor. "We're just enforcing standards. For everyone's safety. If you've ever lived under an HOA thumb, you know this drill, the petty tyrants who turn community into a 4-letter word." But this wasn't about overgrown hedges or unpainted mailboxes. This was Gladys wielding her gavel like a personal vendetta, all because Sarah dared to smile again, to chat with neighbors over fence lines about seedling tips. Anonymous notes? Please. We all knew they were Gladys's poison pen specials, scribbled in her perfect cursive to mask her own insecurities. I leaned in, voice low and steady. "Gladys, I'm Ethan Klein, District Attorney. If your board's accusing my wife of marital sabotage via vegetable patches, show me the ratified clause. The one with legal teeth. Not just your say-so. Her grin faltered. Just a twitch. But it was there, the first crack in her armor-plated ego. Sarah didn't say a word as they retreated, Gladys muttering about further action. But later, inside, her shoulders slumped in that way I hated, the way they'd done during the worst of the treatments. She folded herself into the kitchen chair, staring at the fruit bowl like it held answers. I'm fine, she whispered, but her voice cracked on the lie. I pulled her close, smelling the earth on her skin. This garden, it was her victory lap, built after she rang that damn bell at the clinic. The arch we hammered together from reclaimed wood, her idea, to frame the herbs like a gateway to normalcy. And now Gladys wanted to bulldoze it with bureaucracy. No way. That afternoon, an envelope slithered under our door, unsealed, HOA letterhead glaring like a badge. Violation. Conduct unbecoming. Secondary. Solicitation of inappropriate familial attention. Sarah read it once, folded it crisply, and tucked it away. No tears. Just that quiet steel I'd fallen for years ago. But I saw the hurt, the way it chipped at her hard-won peace. That's when I cracked open the files. Not the HOA fluff, the real meat, incorporation docs from the Virginia State Corporation Commission. Gladys thought her board was ironclad, but I smelled rot. And boy, was it pungent. Their renewal had lapsed last year, 8 months of ghost status. No legal pulse. Yet that's when Gladys rammed through her morality amendments, vague nonsense about public decorum and harmonic interactions, signed solo like she was queen. No votes, no quorums, just her ego on paper. This wasn't about Sarah. It was about control freaks fearing the light. People like Gladys, who preach community values while stomping on anyone who doesn't fit their beige worldview. I printed it all, stacked it neat on my desk. But I waited. Rage makes sloppy prosecutors. Instead, I walked the neighborhood that evening, eyes sharp. Patterns emerged like crime scenes. A vibrant flower bed reduced to mulch overnight. A porch swing vanished, cited for visual obstruction. The Ramirez family's pride flag, gone. Under aesthetic neutrality, not changes, erasures. Quiet capitulations to Gladys's reign of ridiculous. Sarah stayed in, scrubbing counters that gleamed already, her sponge squeaking like a confession. By dusk, her hands were chapped red. I'm fine, she said again, not turning. But we both knew the lie. Neighbors averted eyes now. Mark, who used to high-five me at barbecues, crossed the street like I had the plague. Obedience, not friendship. Gladys had weaponized whispers into a culture of fear. So I logged into the HOA portal, dug deeper. Policies read like satire, respectability mandates with no legal backbone, just commandments from Gladys's mountaintop. That memo from 6 months back, her solo opus, claiming operational necessity for her power grab, right in the incorporation gap. Jackpot. I cross-referenced timestamps. It all lined up like a bad alibi. Printed, filed, waited 48 hours. Watched Gladys's next move brew. Came certified mail. Of course, escalation in ink. Ongoing impropriety. Non-compliance. Mandatory closed hearing. Penalties including privilege revocation and access suspension. Sarah's hand shook over the signature, breath hitching like during those long nights post-surgery. They weren't just slapping wrists. They were trying to unmake her recovery, force her into a room to defend her right to exist vibrantly. No specifics, just shadows. I labeled a new folder, Hargrove Overreach Dismantle. This was chess now, and Gladys was about to learn I play for checkmate. Didn't see Vic Harlan lurking that morning. Vice President, Gladys's reluctant enforcer. He hovered at the curb, clipboard limp, polo shirt rumpled like his conscience, staring at our garden arch like it offended him personally. I approached slow. Vic, he jumped, eyes on the lavender Sarah had planted last week. Inspections, he mumbled. Sidewalk audit. Visibility concerns. No one complained. No cracks in the concrete. Visibility, pressed. He flipped the clipboard, blank forms, uncapped pen. Gladys sent me. Said the arch blocks views. Didn't. Not a leaf. You buy that? Vic. Softly. No. Crack number 2. His ring glinted, married man. Probably one of Gladys's protected flock. You signed the violation? Exhale. Yeah. She drafted. I rubber-stamped. Silence screamed. Vic wasn't evil. He was spineless. Thinking nods kept him safe. Sarah's no homewrecker, I said. She's a fighter. His face crumpled. I know. At the block party last year, she organized the bake sale. Made it fun. Pause. What changed? Mouth opened. Closed. Fish out of water. Gladys calls it a moral audit. The phrase landed like a gut punch. Auditing souls? Vic glanced away. Not just Sarah. Leak confirmed. She's not the first? Quiet. No. I leaned in. This hearing? They'll shred her behind closed doors. No pushback means complicity. He didn't bolt. Stayed rooted. Seed planted. That night, Sarah asked about him. Vic. Used to mow our lawn when I was down. Shift happened, not seismic, but the foundation trembled. The hearing notice arrived via awkward teen courier. Glossy envelope. 0 eye contact. Closed session. Conduct violations. Second-tier moral infraction. No details. Just Gladys's vague venom. Sarah stared at the arch, fingers digging into her sides. They want me erased. Worse than gone, humiliated. I built a timeline that afternoon. Gladys's morality clause jammed through April 19th. Smack in the lapse. Illegal as hell. Called a buddy in housing regs. Can a lapsed HOA enforce ghost rules? Laugh. Like a zombie suing you. Dead on arrival. Confirmed. Requested hearing docs via portal. Denied. Board discretion. Flaunting the farce. Sarah poked at dinner. Ashamed. Feels like I sinned by surviving. I took her hand. Their game, shrink you. But you go. I go. Cold fingers warmed slightly. We walked into the community room at 7:25. Folding table throne. Blue cloth like a mock altar. Gladys centered. Smug. Vic at the edge. Eyes down. Lone chair for Sarah. Interrogation style. She sat unflinching. I loomed with briefcase. Snapping time-stamped pics. Let them monologue. Gladys. Thank you for participating. No oath. No packet. Just vagueness. Harmony disruption. Undue familiarity. Whispers weaponized. Sarah let it echo. Then, who complained? Gladys. Policy protects anonymity. I nodded to Sarah. She, evidence, stutter, board discretion. Farce peaked when Gladys leaned in. We must preserve marital sanctity. Sarah's eyes met mine signal. But we waited, letting their absurdity marinate. Post-hearing, Sarah was quiet, but fire flickered. They think vagueness wins. I smiled. Vagueness is their Achilles. Dug deeper, more lapses, more solo decrees. Recorded a board call leak. Gladys ranting. If we let that perky survivor flirt unchecked, the whole suburb unravels. Gold. Bound it all in a binder, thick as a novel. Dropped copies. HOA lawyer, county clerk, local reporter tip-off. Procedural fireworks incoming. Gladys pivoted, calling a clarification session. Too late. Neighborhood buzzed. Lawn chairs out. Nods from shadows. Past the empty Gwyn lot ghost of Gladys's handiwork. Vowed. No more. Arrived early. Stacked chairs. Mock court. Vic sat mid-row. Not front. Sarah in her treatment blouse armor. Residents filtered in. Whispering. Gladys last. Rehearsed poise. Eyes on binder. She opened, reinforcing cherished values. I let her drone 5 minutes. Then stood, not clarification cover-up. She, moderated session. Me, I'm challenging your standing as DA. Murmurs. Laid binder down. Punitive clauses enacted during lapses. No authority. Her tap-tap fingers. Misinterpretation. Implied consent. Implied? That's not law. Gasps. Played audio. Gladys's survivor slur. Pale as paper. Vic rose. I heard it live. Gladys. Personal attack. Me. Accountability. Room ignited. Mrs. Patel. You find my Diwali lights for glare? Mr. Lopez. My kid's mural. Graffiti? Sarah stood. You sent a generic card during chemo, then warned me for engaging posture. Silence empowered you. Gladys? Not personal. Sarah. Always was. Vic moved. No confidence vote. Seconded. Hands rose unanimous. Gladys gathered papers. Walked out. No bang. Just whimper. Justice whispered. Next day. Vote posted. Gladys ousted. Vic interim. I prepped repeal packet. Nullify all lapse actions. Apologies. Transparency. Evening gathering, packed. Kids included. Vic. We failed via silence. I presented. Repeal Section 4. Erase shames. Floor opened. Stories poured. Find prayer flags. Shamed outfits. Unanimous repeal. Clap steady. Gardens bloomed anew. Flags flew. Gladys resigned. Misalignment. No sorry. Neighborhood breathed. Sarah and I on porch. New benches coming. Lean. Doesn't fix all. But shifts next. Her real smile returned. The arch stood defiant. Herbs thriving. Truth toppled tyranny quietly. But here's the kicker. Was Gladys the villain? Or just the symptom of a system that lets petty power corrupt? You tell me, was her moral audit ever about community? Or just her fragile ego? Drop your thoughts below. Did she deserve the fall? Or is every HOA hiding a Gladys?